Sangeet sir, shall we start?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we can start.
Also,
We
sir,
can
just
start.
so you know, the session is live streamed at YouTube right now. So we have
Okay,
audience here and at the YouTube as well.
great. Let's do it.
Okay, I'll start. A good evening and a warm welcome to all the design enthusiasts who have joined for the Discover Art Student Project Awards Design webinar. The session is titled Working of a Good Design, and we are honored to have you all here with us. Discover Art is a creative education platform that's dedicated to empowering architecture students across the globe. Through curated competitions, creative workshops, and academic resources, Discover Art aims to bridge the gap between academic learning and professional exposure. With a strong focus on student growth, innovation, and design thinking, the platform provides opportunities for young designers to showcase their talent, learn from industry leaders, and build a strong foundation for their journey. Discoverage Student Project Awards 2025 is organized by Discoverage in collaboration with IIA Punjab Chapter, Kapurthala Sub-Center, and A3 Foundation. It's an international level initiative celebrating design excellence among architecture students. Through multiple award categories, expert jury sessions, and academic collaboration, DSPA 2025 aims to highlight and reward the best student work from across the globe. Now, let me take a moment to introduce our distinguished speaker for the session, Architect Sangeet Sharma. Architect Sangeet Sharma is a distinguished architect, author, and educator whose work has shaped contemporary Indian architecture. As the principal architect at St. Sharma and Associates, Chandigarh, he continues the legacy of modernist, climate responsive, and functional design across numerous institutional, residential, and commercial projects in India. He is a prolific writer, academician, motivational speaker, poet, artist, and the founder of A3 Foundation, which is an initiative promoting art, architecture, and aesthetics. His publications on design thinking and professional ethics have inspired students and practitioners nationwide, and he is widely regarded as one of the most respected voices of Indian architecture today. The A3 Foundation promotes sustainable art, architecture, and aesthetics in India with the collective support of professionals, students, educational institutions, and allied bodies. It works to advance sustainable architecture, particularly highlighting the legacy of Chandigarh architecture. Through seminars, conferences, workshops, exhibitions, group discussions, and talks by eminent architects, the foundation fosters multidimensional growth of profession and supports architecture education and awareness. With such a great, incredible body of work and an inspiring commitment to architectural education, we are privileged to have him here with us. So let's welcome architect Sangeet Sharma for today's session on working of a good design.
Thank you. And thank you, Tanya. Uh, Thank you, Discover Arch. I'm audible. Is everything fine?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
audible.
Please continue.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Um, I'm blessed to be here and for this very encouraging and wonderful introduction. Um, I always delight in telling the students and making some path towards what a good design is and how should it function, how should it be, what exactly entails a good design. I mean, there's so much of a lot of students come to us and they say, "Sir, before the competition or before the entry, what exactly do we see? What are the checklists of a good design?" And four, five things before I start my presentation, friends, that a good design basically provides a solution. There's no second thoughts to it. I mean, every good design is basically a functional problem, and we are here to give a solution because the solution is making of a habitat, which is primarily essentially used by human beings. So that is an important prerequisite. It's not a sculpture. It's It's a sculpture, of course, which is used by human beings. They always say that architecture is a frozen poetry. It is poetry, but to be discovered by the people living there. So it's something which inhabits, enables, is enjoyed, is relished by people. So you occupy a space which is designed for that particular business. You embellish it beautifully. Uh, you're an artist at heart. You are a composer at heart. You're a sculptor at heart. And that you provide as an underneath layer above the function. A lot of students ask me, how do you approach? There's so many adages, so many signs, so many sayings, form follows function, and all this, which are very truthful. Things change with time, but the fundamentals of design do not change with time. If it's an architectural solution, it has to be brought about for the same technology, same parameters, same grammar which is used to make architecture. There is no other way. There is nothing new to it. What you are learning today, I learned it in the same pattern. My father learned it in the same pattern. Above him, all the first generation architects, the masters, they all have learned in the similar fashion. Our approach can vary, but not the fundamentals. So to start this talk, I just want to emphasize that fundamentals are the same. We are providing a solution. For the client could be a person who wants to make a small house, a hut, school, IT buildings, whatever. It's not the uh, the volume of a project, the scale of a project. Architecture is not about making large buildings. It's all about making small, habitable, comfortable, useful buildings. Le Corbusier is as famous for his capital complex in Chandigarh as much as he is for the little 10 by 10 cabinet which he did in Europe and France. So it's the utility. It's the inputs of an architect, how you define a space. It's the ability of an architect, how to make that space enriching. You evolve something out of nothing. I mean, just see the dichotomy of our profession friends. You have nothing but space. Yet your tools of implementation is the meager space. The sculptor has a stone, and the painter has a canvas. Poet has words, a paper and pencil. You have the space. So you carve the intangible to create more meaningful, tangible spaces. Isn't it something stupendous? Isn't it something so beautiful, equally difficult? Because when you have just a space, what do you do? Am I audible? Is it all fine?
Yes, sir. Yes, you're completely audible.
All right. Well, I hope there is no disturbance. Is it okay?
No, sir. Yes.
Fine, fine. When we understand the basics of design, friends, it is then when we proceed to create something more meaningful. How can we otherwise create a design? I mean, you cannot lift a paper and a pencil and start making lines. It is senseless. So 90% of your design, I'm repeating, 90% of your design happens in your mind, and 10% by experimentation, alternatives, iterations, etc., etc. But that's it has taken shape in the womb of your mind. That's what design is. Rest follows, rest flows. It's not something which is, you know, imagined. It's something which grows. It's something which enables your thought process, which has already taken shape in your mind. You'll always see those masters of architecture. You name any in India, you name any in the world. Their process is on small scribbles, some doodles, while traveling on napkins and sketches on tables. It just happens. I've seen some other architects, on their on the cigarette cases they had drawn something, and then they come back and say, "This is the way." That is actually the design. What you get 2 inches by 2 inch sketch to draft, or which you will when you work with masters or any architects, is a churning after a long, long time in the mind. It creates sleepless nights. That is the design. That which invokes your basic presence, gives you sleepless nights. It keeps on rubbing, brushing your mind up and about. And then after that juggling moment, Tatiana, after the you know gold which burns in the furnace, uske baad wo cheez nikalti hai. That is a time when you say, I have got my design ready. Ready for what? For further working. You draft it, and then you put in all the requirements slowly, then you put in all uh, the sustainable parameters, etc., etc., as the demand of the times, demand of the client, demand of the systems, climate, typology, contours, finances, so many things. But the principal idea does not change. You don't overnight change abruptly. Yes, there will be changes as per the parameters. But you don't suddenly come the next day and say, okay, no, let's redo the whole thing. As a system, as a topology, if you have thought of two solutions, you work on them. But then you select one and polish it. That becomes the most important term or terminology by which we define the design. Having said that, friends, I'll show you one of my design. I'll show you how I personally, as an architect, who's been in profession for 25 years or so, come to a point where what I speak today to you also took time. I took time to understand. I took time to realize, and that I'm imparting you in 30 minutes and 40 minutes. And that's the whole idea of this masterclass, that I give you tips quickly, which you can bring it in your design because you are entering this competition or any competition in the world. Ideas, ideologies remain the same. And let me see.
Right.
I'm sharing my screen. Sorry, I'm using somebody else's laptop. I'm in Singapore. My time range is different. My time zones are different. I take a little time to understand this Mac. I'm
It's
sharing
okay,
my.
so take your
I'm.
time. I'm sure
I'm
you
sure.
have the presentation rights, right?
Absolutely,
Sure.
it's all set. Give me a moment, friends. Aro. Hello. Uh, Tana, can you see this?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
It's okay. Okay. I'll. Yeah. So, should I?
Yes, yes, continue, sir.
I'm talking about one of the projects. This is an institute which I designed in Coimbatore. Um, it was an engineering college. Um, I belong to Chandigarh, but we have offices in Coimbatore, and we work there for this prestigious PSG group. Um, One of the prime principal objectives of this institute was to make it very natural in terms of its application. It should be very simple, and they want to impart engineering education. So it should be not dogmatic in persona or in style. So the first thing which, friends, I understood was that in Coimbatore, there's a lot of breeze, and I wanted to exploit that. If you can see that line of mine which says a building must necessarily look like what it is made for. These are my sayings. That helps you to identify the image of a building. That helps me to identify the image of a building. Now, this being a campus, it's almost about 2.5 lakh square feet of an area, and the client already is a very famous imparter of education for about 75 to 80 years now. So it has to be very soothing. It had to be something which is very comforting. Very much even landscape grounds I had, and so I used the emphasis of a microclimate in the whole process. Now, if you see this, this is the kind of a site which we had, and this slide only shows how I have enabled the masses around it. In an institute, it has to grow in a modular fashion. We know that today they will have emphasis of one block or two blocks. It depends on the curriculum, on the student intake, on the finances. So you're always very aware that how, if two blocks are made, it must look nearly complete. So at no stage I wanted that my project should look as if it's incomplete, and therefore the process. We had a big foundry in the front, and I could make out the parameters around my campus, and that's how I applied a little application of the site. And there were quarters, other industries. So this is the whole site. So what was the features I want to tell you, friends? Obviously, it had to be courtyard planning because it is climate responsive. Because I could feel that my tool in this project is the breeze. And it's not going to be air conditioned building. I don't want to spend money on air conditioning. We don't need to do it unless until there are essentially, lecture halls and seminar halls or other areas which required air conditioning. Otherwise, we don't need it. So a formation of central porch. They told me that they had mass gatherings. They had people who come to employ them. And they had people who came to recruit them. So in my mind, there were spaces which were not necessarily asked by the client. And I knew that those are the spaces which are going to be used maximum. So the departments are placed as per the category and function. This is the kind of, I would say, a painting which is done. And I personally start through art. I personally like to sketch, put some colors, make a form, and that's how it starts. So you can see the blocks, friends, which are connected by corridors, but essentially those are the departments which is in a modularity. You can see this, how the color shows the kind of blocks which are required as per the function. So I provided a central porch, a lot of bridges in between them, which gives them semi-protections like this. So the pink color is what you call the glue between the blocks, joins them, connects them, holds them together. These spaces, these screens are what is so-called the binding forces. And of course, the central courtyard. Now, the central courtyard is not something which you and I have been learning. We had houses previously with a central courtyard. The function were more or less done in the central court, the family. It's not that. This court was specifically to ingrain, to harness the breeze which is coming in and the view, of course. It's a campus where there are about 5,000 children are going to study. So they need a space for congregation. They need a space for gatherings, announcements, functions. So that's how this design was thought of. How do you place my blocks? I discover the orientation of my ventilation because that became the prime tool. You have to discover the prime tool in your design. You have to discover that one basic factor which will govern the design and others will follow. It's like the solar system. We have something in between. We have the sun, the planets, and all the galaxies move around it. So you have to discover the sun. You have to discover the nucleus of the atom and the molecule, and that's how it happens. Joins them like this. If you can see, entrance port slowly is emerging. You can see that line, that single vision, that single attractive vision, the courtyard, how that became the central place of not just attachment, visual attachment, but also the fulcrum around which the whole campus revolved. Now you take it as a campus planning, or you take it as any design. I'm giving you only an example of this design just to connect and reinforce what I've told you, friends. So the blocks are like this. We have all the north, south, western. I've studied the climate. I already know about the climate. I don't care about the scientific zones about it. I just know when I stood at the site that there was fantastic breeze and no humidity. There's no sea in Coimbatore. Unlike in Chennai, you have a lot of humidity. That makes life hell there, and you are dependent on the air conditioning. Not here. Here there is breeze. Here there is flow, and that's what I wanted. So between the blocks, you can see there is spaces left for the flow, visual flow, breeze flow, people flow, all through. It's not joined together as a one mass where you get inside and say, my goodness, where have I come? It doesn't happen like that. And these are the studies of the winds, prevailing summers, hardly any winter like in North India. I mean, just to tell you that these are the studies which we did. Of course, all of us know that these studies help in refining your design, not making your design. They are used to cultivate your design, your thought, what I told you 25 minutes ago. How you bring in that one factor and then you polish it. You are refining it. Any design. Solar orientations, latitudes, longitudes, fine, that's okay. You are further refining it. You have the tools now. The first generation of architects never had this computer analysis. If you see buildings of Mr. Doshi or Mr. Correa or Frank Lloyd Wright and Le Corbusier, they don't go wrong. They didn't have this analysis systems, the softwares. No, but they never went wrong. They created their own systems of technology, analysis to understand the direction. understand the sun path, and thereby they used to create their building. It's amazing. With all this technology, we can go wrong. They never went wrong. If you see the IM campus in Ahmedabad or the Capitol Complex in Chandigarh, my goodness, it's amazing. And amazing development per se, what aesthetics, great aesthetics. You never lose that one condition that you are made of. At the end of the day, you are supposed to make beautiful buildings. Don't forget that. So this is the kind of composition of the modules happen. Then there's an administration block on the left-hand side at the entrance. There is a uh, academic block on the right, and so on and so forth. Not important at this time. I'm just telling you how a good design works. We'll have a separate session where I can take one of my project and explain you. So if you see an ISO, if I lift the roof, this is how it is. So the portico is something where you stand suddenly and it's twin height columns, which is so inviting, and then you stand there with full of breeze and so full of the view that you say, my goodness, I've come like this. So how you stack the plans? It's like this. And some visuals, which for you friends, I made. How do you stand? How do you discover? Your vision is guiding you, not the softwares. Technology is helping you to build your solutions. At the end of the day, is what you bring it out is your design. Very simplistic. Complications don't make good architecture. And it's very difficult to make something simple, friends. It took years and years to understand this concept from the heritage, the leniency from fathers, teachers, masters, gurus. More difficult to make something simple. See the elevations. Now you're playing in the elevation. That's okay. You're not making it bland, but you know the crux of your design. You know what you are giving. That's important. Few sections you can see. You understand your volumes through sections, friends. Unfortunately, people of your age, students of your age, don't cut many sections. They don't understand. They want to avoid making section, but you will never understand your concept. You will never understand or relish the space until you cut a section. And that's your test. Now you see this elevation? Simple embracing. Simple. So this is view from the top. If you see the porch, when I appear, when I align at the porch, my eyes are looking straight into the courtyard. And that gives me the full feeling. I can sense, I can smell, I can inhale the whole concept of my design in one approach to the landscape. And see those bridges. See those bridges which are bridging the volumes, the blocks. So when the students are going from one place to the another, they are, you're with the nature. You don't bind them. I told you, you're making habitat for the human beings to live. On the right, you can see my design and, my sketch, how the colors are evolving. I'm a cubist. I'm a cubist modernist, by which it means that I think and dream in colors. I have the freedom to feel free in my mind and my hands, and then I bring the order. Every individual have its own way. That's okay. I'm talking about myself. So you can see the flow of the breeze. You can see how I identify the spaces through colors. Now, this is the bridges, the beautiful picture. On the right is the water, which is flowing, and when the breeze comes in, it brings in such freshness. My goodness, it's beautiful to stand. You can see the double height and triple height columns. You can see this is the entrance, the view from the entrance. So when you're there in a space, you belong to the space. Every nook and corner is your test, friends. Architecture is very difficult profession if you don't understand it, and very easy once you know it from the masters. This is open air theater, small, just an extension of space, not that elaborate OAT which they never wanted and never wanted to give them. But great performances happen here. It's a free space, beautifully landscaped area. It doesn't cost. The symmetry, the topology, elevation is a composition. It's a composition. You don't necessarily take projections. Projections happen in your mind. Just a few Google images. How do you go about making? After this, you are now responding to the landscape features. You are trying to maintain certain um, parameters for Mother Earth. We have this griha, green, lead, all those very confusing things. Not necessary. This is just primarily so that we don't take away from nature. It's as simple as that. No master did it. Charles Korea, sir, never made any green building. But all his buildings are very sustainable. So was Mr. Doshi, or any master of that age. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make some landscape corners. If I'm planting, if I'm picking up trees, I'm planting them. I'm making sure that there is no noise because it's a teaching institution, it's a learning institution. So I make patch and sound barriers. I'm doing it. It's a simple, honest approach to design. Nothing, no, there's no rocket science, friends. I'm only trying to surround my buildings with more nature. I'm only ensuring that it doesn't hamper. I use materials which are locally available. Fine, that's okay. I save the topsoil. I learned it. This was we never envisaged this building to be griha oriented and all that stuff. But when we started, somebody said, why don't you just plan in such a way? And thankfully, the planning was such, the approach was such that it got automatically 4 star. You don't make, you don't plan to make green buildings. You plan to make good buildings. Other things just follow. We definitely need solar. We have solar panels. We definitely need places to park, places to landscape. Simple IQs. You understand what kind of trees are there. It's going to be a lot of lush greenery. I would be foolish to destroy that. I won't do it. Logic. No afforestation. A lot of landscape. Use and reuse of the materials. Similarly, in the same very campus, I made a school of architecture. Quickly we run through. Very interesting. So it's this is a building which supports the engineering college. If this is what is a remote sensing thing, and that's how it goes. The time is up. I can go on, but specifically, I wanted to show this project, which is of a great importance, and it takes care of all the things which you will do either in a small project or big project. Friends, I'm open to debate, open to discussions, open to talks. The time is up. Tanya, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was an incredible session, and this project made it even more easier to understand.
Yes.
Now, we are open for all sort of questions. Please put it in the chat box, anyone. And meanwhile, there are some already prepared questions that we'd like to ask you.
Please go ahead. Please be free to ask me. I'm just a mentor. I'm just a friend. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, what do you think is the first thing that you consider when you start working on a new design?
Existing parameters, which includes geography, topology, culture, background, requirements.
Hmm. And so, how should the student, in what direction should they work if they want to improve their design thinking skills?
See, the thinking skills, I started my talk with that. I think the thinking skills must be that you are making a building for somebody else. Somebody else is paying for it. So they have given the directions to you and you are the master. So you are actually you must take things very responsibly. That's the catch. In architecture, we cannot be irresponsible. So if you want to, the moment you're designing and you're thinking, my goodness, I can't be irresponsible. I can't be irresponsible. Automatically, your design gets more simple, more pragmatic, more sensible, more reachable, more comfortable. So take responsibility in your hand. You cannot be frivolous. So once you take responsibility, your design comes through, believe me, friends.
Right. There's this question from student named Kushaga. They're asking
Yeah.
how about integrating AI in poetry formation of architecture? Right.
Every
Integrating
tool,
AI in poetry formation of architecture.
yeah. Uh, all the tools, Shala, for our benefit. When AutoCAD came in, we thought, ki, oh my goodness, ab kya hoga? You know, it will take away our sensibilities, it will take away our thinking process. It doesn't happen. AI is a tool which will benefit you to visualize better. Visualize better, not to visualize. Your visualization has taken place in your mind. It is already there. It's not your mind. AI is not your mind. You give him your mind and it give you alternatives. Then again, what do you choose? Who will choose? AI? No. You. You will choose. You will only be able to choose the final product if you are liberated, capable, cultivated, educated. Understand that? Let the AI come in. Don't lose hold of your mind.
Amazing, sir. So now a question from Janvi. How do functionality and aesthetics interact in a good architecture design?
Always, there is no second thought. You are making habitable space. You are making a sculpture, as I said, which is usable. It's not a piece of art. Aesthetics is not that you're making something and keep it there to see, maja aa gaya. No, you are not to say maja aa gaya. The client, the person who uses, he says maza aa gaya. And that one line is something which you launch to hear, because the person, your product is the usable product. So functionality, aesthetics, they go hand in hand. If you see my hand, it's like this.
Absolutely. So, sir, what is advice that you would like to give to students who are just entering professional practice or they're starting with their first internship?
When you're starting your internship, friends, you're there to learn. Even if you know, don't try to show that you know, not to demean the schools of architecture, but what you know is only a bit. Unfortunately, our profession lies in the dust, sand, cement, reti bajra. Our profession is not primarily on the butter sheets and computers. So when you enter internships or when you go to others' offices, keep your mind and eyes open. Assimilate, ask questions. And if your mentor or your architect is willing to distribute or impart knowledge, he will. We are there as mentors to all. There's no partiality in mentorship. You all are my colleagues. So when you go for that, keep your mind and eyes open, bas, and learn as much as you can.
Amazing. So, Sir Kushagar wants to know that what is the process of getting an internship at your respected firm?
uh, at this moment, Tushagar, we are closed because we are a medium-sized office. In fact, we are a small office based in Chandigarh. Yes, small office with large projects, क्योंकि हम लोग खुद काम करने वाले लोग हैं. So we take very less interns, but nevertheless, I don't know when are you starting or when is your date. Please apply. Go on the website there. Please apply, and my staff will figure out.
Right, sir. One last question. How can
Go on, go
architecture
on.
still remain timeless in a fast changing world?
Who asking this question?
So, this is from Lucky.
Hmm. Good question, actually, and a difficult one. Timeless in architecture. I can give a 3-hour lecture on this separately, because one of the topics which I talk on is the timelessness of architecture. But to make it very short, in 10 seconds, Taj Mahal is timeless, and so is the pyramids, the temples of Athens, Rajavasar's buildings, Frank Lloyd's, the Corbusiers. It's 60 years since the capital complex of Chandigarh is made. Same time as I'm, I'm particularly giving these two examples in my lecture because you know about them. I think for at your stage to understand the timelessness is that which is giving the solution which an architect has provided for a long time. That means what he envisaged as a solution to the problem survives for a long time. Long time can be 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years. We still dig up the plan of Mohenjo-daro, and we suddenly discovered it's a grid iron pattern. The roads are straight. And Le Corbusier designed Chandigarh 65 to 70 years ago with a grid iron pattern. That means thousands of years before, they knew that the straight line planning is more functional. And that's timelessness. When we receive answers to our problems, even today from the past, it's timeless. When you make things today, which your second, third, fourth generation of architects are going to refer to, is timeless. When the client who lives in your designed building, he and his children will say, architect, sir, we love this design. We love to live in this building. It's timeless. There's no definition. I think timelessness is something that gives you joy. It gives you immense happiness, because architecture is all about giving us, you and me, that immense joy when you make something for your client. Timelessness.
Of course. So we have another question from Rahul
Go on,
Gupta.
go
He
on.
wishes to know if brick architecture is sustainable.
Brick architecture is, uh, when has bricks not been followed? When has the bricks were abandoned? If you go years before, if you see the civilizations, they're all in bricks. Why this question? I mean, when has the society or the modern world abandoned bricks? It's always sustainable. Okay, if you have understood that the Griha norms do not recommend bricks because of their embodied energy, it's a separate question. It's something which you are, because you cater to those um, uh, the Griha norms, and therefore these days you have a lot of fly ash bricks, etc., etc. It's okay. Bricks are bricks. Their texture, color, atonement, embodiment will never go away from your mind. It's there. It's always sustainable. Whatever the science, the technology, or ABC says, bricks are always here to stay.
So Janvi wishes to know
Yeah.
that can a design be considered complete if its meaning changes with time, or is adaptability the only true marker of good design?
Whether it will remain sustainable, sorry, Percevalo,
Can a design be considered complete if if its meaning changes with time? Like if the meaning of a design changes with time, or just the adaptability is a true marker for good design?
either way, either way, there's no issues. I mean, it will still remain a good design. If it's a good design, Janvi, and you and if the parameters are good and adaptable and habitable, it remains a good design. अभी तो हमारी बात हुई है. You make it timeless. Times change. Design remains the same. Or if it was applicable, it was good 50 years ago, it will still be good 50 years after. So the timelessness, the event of time does not matter. A good design will always remain a good design. I hope I have made that clear.
A question from Umid Singhania. Should architecture define the context or adapt to it in terms of aesthetics?
Adapt. Architecture adapts to the context. Architecture lives up to what it is made for. Architecture revolves around the space it is to be built for. You adapt. You don't change things. You don't melt things. You don't abandon things. I made a auditorium in the hills near Solon, and someone told me, "Please cut the hills. We should make something very modern." I said, "No, it blends. You adapt. You don't change parameters."
Mhm. So, another question from Janvi. How does one design for longevity in an era that is defined by speed, short attention spans, and rapidly changing technologies?
Great question. You are Everything revolves around the timelessness. I just answered those questions. You are not caring about the changing times. You're not bothered about the time factors, the technologies which change. What building has changed after AutoCAD came in, or 3D Max came in, or AI has come in? Your fundamentals of your design, how the building look like remains the same. I mean, you are changing some kind of aesthetics in your design, but the principles don't change. If I see a building of Zaha Hadid, she has used the parametrics analogy because of the computers and made a building of that kind, but the parameters remain the same. The function remain the same. Aesthetics change. People still live in that. If it's a museum, it's a functional museum. It's not a sculpture. So it doesn't matter. Let the times go on changing. Good architecture, if it's designed to be good architecture, will remain good architecture.
All right. So Karthik wants to ask that as a fresher architect in the industry, should we pursue a job as an architect or should we start our own venture? Because they do get a lot of small projects, but due to the job, they do not get enough time to work on it.
No, you can have either way the ventures. You want to join a firm. I think one should join a firm to learn first and then start your ventures. You don't get big projects, and there's never not like that. You big or small projects. Everything is architecture. And so, replying to your question, yes, your intention must be to learn a few years and then start your practice.
Amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful session and even more insightful answers to the questions. I believe
Thank you
there
so
are no more
much.
questions from the audience.
No problem. You're always welcome to join me on Instagram, social media. Call me, whatever. We are here to mentor you for anything and do good work. Starts right from here. Architecture doesn't happen once I qualify. I will do good architecture. No, it doesn't happen. Right from the very first year, very first stage, very first project. If you see the designs of Hafiz sir or Sanjay Puris or any people, right from the college days, they were doing great design. If you go back and see the masters of architecture designs in school or the colleges, they're as amazing. So you discover yourself with every step. You discover yourself with every year, with every step from education to learning, building. It's a beautiful process. It's a beautiful journey. I read a few of my books, Architecture, Life and Me, especially if you want to get inspired. And I'm always there, friends.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much on behalf of the Discover Arts organization to architect Sangeet Sharma. as well as the esteemed audience here. We hope this session added value to your design journey or inspired you in some way or another. Thank you so much for the active participation. Have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much. Thank you very much, Tanya, for the assistance. Thank you very much, friends, for your time. I just hope I did my job well. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.